The one thing that I really love about Fresno is the culture. You have a lot of different people that live here, a lot of different cultures. It's like one big melting pot.
I really appreciate the small town feel. Fresno's the 5th largest city in California. It's really nice to be able to get to know folks, be able to meet people, and they know your name, or you go around, everybody's kind of connected. It's nice to be in a bigger city but still have that small town kind of vibe.
One thing I love about Fresno is the historic part of Fresno, how it's preserved, and I just love it. I just love it here. I love the people, so maybe 2 things.
In the summer of 2024, 10 Central California community members took part in a new community journalism fellowship. This fellowship was a collaboration between Fresno City College, Fresnoland, and the Journalism and Design Lab. The goal was to teach community journalism practices in order to elevate local stories, promote civic engagement, and help local communities to thrive. Let's hear from the fellowship class of 2024 as they share of their experience.
My name is Dr. Kamille Williams, and I live here in Fresno, California.
My name is Mateo Fernandez. I live in Visalia, California.
My name is Nishanian. I'm 17 years old and I'm a senior at Clips West High School.
My name is Peralta and I am 41. From the Jane Addams neighborhood, and I am the executive director for Jane Addams Community Development Corporation, and I'm a mom of 2 kids.
My name is Ariana Martinez, Lott. I live in the Bernie neighborhood.
Well, I'm the editor-in-chief at the Fresno City College Rampage. I've been doing journalism for about 5 years now, so going back to high school. Coming to Fresno, I found out local journalism is what matters the most. It's what affects everyday people day to day.
During the course of the fellowship, each of the fellows researched an issue they were passionate about, which directly affected their community.
My topic of passion was truck routes and safety, because the school, Jane Addams Elementary School, is the base of that community. So the bus stop is right on a truck route. I feel like the Jane Addams neighborhood isn't being heard as much as other communities because we have a lot of diversity. Everybody that's part of the community is important. Everybody should have a voice and be able to tell their story.
The topic that I chose for the fellowship is teen drug abuse. I originally thought that I knew like a good amount, but I realized I did not. And I learned a lot about how it is so easy for anyone to get on drugs, no matter who you are. Like, no matter if you come from a wealthy family in a gated community, like you could 100% become addicted to drugs, and how common it is.
The story that I chose to write about was about Black doulas in the Fresno area, and why it's important for Black women or women of color to have doulas in their lives. What came out in my research was some women don't feel heard, and that doula is that advocate for that woman in that time of high stress.
I wanted to write about like students with mental disabilities and how colleges can actually be supportive, because a lot of the support for disabilities is given to people with physical disabilities, and then it's like, okay, you add on mental disabilities because they realized it was an issue later on. So I kind of wanted to look into how students are affected by the accommodations and what's really like holding them back.
And one fellow's work even ended up in print through Fresno City College's student-run newspaper, The Rampage.
My subject was homelessness. The fellowship did a really good job of kind of grounding me. What the fellowship brought to me was kind of a sense of like, the reality is that no matter what you choose to talk about in homelessness, that it's so big and there's so many ins and outs. It's not like anything else I've ever written about. Being the EIC, we released our first print and the entire theme of it was unhoused people in Fresno. And it was really popular and it made a lot of difference. Without the fellowship, I wouldn't have been able to know how to write about homelessness and how to go about it from an editorial perspective. What I tried to learn from the fellowship was how to be a better leader.
Another fellow applied her fellowship work to advocacy for street food vendors who saw their businesses in peril due to newly proposed regulations from the Fresno City Council.
Ultimately, this is a story about who has perceived political power to decide who belongs and who doesn't. That was one of the things for us in this time. Through this fellowship, what is the power of bringing a story to a larger audience?
Ariana helped the vendors share their perspectives with the City Council, which prompted changes to the policy before it passed. While vendors were still disappointed with the final ordinance, they were proud of their ability to organize in such a short time.
This fellowship challenged me to do my research, to learn from the city's perspective on what their challenges were, but also try and work more collaboratively because the street vendors ultimately do understand and they actually celebrate cities that are establishing protocols because that's what they want. They want to become a more formal part of the economy.
The fellows gained desire and skills to see journalism be a tool for good, to give voice to those who often go unheard.
You have community journalism, which is actually boots on the ground. Like, people are going deeper into the neighborhoods where, as you might only scratch the surface just seeing something on TV, but community journalism is exactly what the name entails. Community is involved in that, which means we're giving voice to the people that typically wouldn't be on the news or typically wouldn't, have a camera in their face or wouldn't be able to articulate what they want to say in a 30-second clip.
One of the classes was Think Like a Journalist, right? But I feel like the topic of that class could really encompass what this fellowship was for me, in terms of like, how do I do my research? How do I give the quote unquote opposition an opportunity to give their side of the story? And maybe it's going to challenge me with something that I was just making an assumption about. I hope that I can continue to apply those lessons in how I engage as a community leader.
I don't think journalism looks like anything. I feel like because it is so changing, I don't think it can ever look like, I don't feel like it can look like anything. Journalism always at its core is about accountability and transparency, first and foremost. So it's always going to stay the same. But how you promote that, how you tell those kind of stories is always changing. So much informational stories, it's stories of people. I think that's how it's changing. I think journalism is becoming not less professional, but also less professional. It's becoming more human.